What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. It's the Oscar Show, Boxing Around the Ring. If it's your first time tuning in, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Let's get into it. So we just watched the Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo for Undisputed this past weekend. And in the words of Jamie Foxx, a.k.a. Jamie King, what the feezy? What did we just watch? That was a sparring session. And Jermell Charlo was a sparring partner. He was helping Canelo get prepared for somebody else. I don't know who. Maybe it's his brother, but he didn't come to fight. That's what it looked like to me. Y'all tell me what you think. What did you guys see? Because from what I saw, Jermell Charlo did not come to fight. He came to survive. It looked like he trained to survive. I picked Jermell Charlo to win by points. And if he lost, I thought it'd be by knockout, as most people did. But instead, we got Canelo winning by decision. I don't think anybody saw that coming. I don't think nobody saw that. But congrats to Canelo. You did your thing. You looked good. Haven't seen you look that good in a while. Now let's talk about some things. So I told myself, I was this close to not buying another Jermell Charlo fight. I was telling myself, I'm not buying another fight. If he's throwing fights, I'm not buying another one. But then I thought about it. Fighters have been throwing fights since the beginning. People have always thrown fights. Why? Because of the dinero, mucho dinero. That is a common cause of fighters throwing fights, right? That man, if he did take a dive, he took a dive, I'm pretty sure, for a hefty sum and, secured the bag that's going to take care of his family and himself in the long run. And I thought even deeper. Boxing does not have anything in place for these guys when boxing is over for them. There's nothing in place. They have no other means to make financial income if they haven't made any smart investments or, marketed themselves in a way where they're, on the level of a Canelo, right? So what can these guys do to not have to rely on, taking dives for big lump sums of money if they are not as popular as they would like to be? Now, I'm not saying that this is the case for Jermell, but what I am saying is that this is something that exists in boxing. We can only speculate what happened in that ring with Jermell Charlo and Canelo Alvarez, but my eyes, they tell me that, hey, somebody threw the fight, But like I said, what can we do as fans to help these fighters get something put in place so that when boxing is done for them, they have nothing else to turn to, that there's something there, right? That there's something in place to help these guys have some sort of income when boxing is done. Something is in place for them to take care of them or their families, right? Because they don't have anything. And this has existed in boxing since the beginning. So people have always thrown fights since the beginning. So what can we do to help these fighters get something in place besides buy fights that will be able to help them in the long run? What can we do? If you guys got any suggestions or, something, let me know. Put it in the comments. Let's see what we can do to come together to help these guys out, because fighters are smart. They know that they're just entertainers at the end of the day, right? They know that. Fans are fans, and fans don't really care about boxers, not really on a personal level, I mean, and how can you? You don't really know them well enough to have that sort of connection. The only connections that fans really share with the fighter is culture, the fact that they're being entertained by them, and maybe where they're from. Those are the connections that we share as fans to these fighters. But on a personal level, we do not know them. So with that being said, if these fighters aren't fighting anymore, who's going to support these fighters when it's all said and done for them? Because history shows we just move on to the next. Who's the next big thing? Who do we like the next? Who's got our eye, right? That's been the history of this sport and the relationship between the fighter and the fans. So what can we do to come together to get something in place for these fighters after fighting? Maybe this will help in the long run so that fighters aren't taking dives for big lump sums of money. Maybe it'll still happen. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's still a good thing for all these fighters to have something in place for them when fighting is over for them. You guys tell me what you think. Put something in the comments, any suggestions or anything like that. Now, like I said, I had Jermell Charlo winning this fight by decision, but that didn't happen. He actually got beat by decision. So congrats to Canelo. I thought he would either get knocked out by Canelo if Canelo was to win, but looking at that fight, that's where I feel like a lot of people are really leaning towards the fact that Jermell took a dive. His actions did not match his words leading up to the fight. And that's just a fact. There's nothing you can do to unsee what we saw this past weekend. A lot of people are upset, but I will say to you to think about it for a second. Just think about it. And if you were in the fighter's shoes and you knew you could make you a quick 20, 30 mil or whatever to take a dive this one time and set your family up for life, for good, what would you do? What would you do? Now, what was strange to me was that right after he took a L to Canelo, he had the nerve to call out Terrence Crawford. Really? When have you seen a fighter take a L and then call out another fighter right after they take a L in the ring? Not a day later, not hours later, not a week later, but right away. And then have the nerve to say, the fight's going to be different. I'm going to bring a different energy. Oh, my. If that don't sound like dry snitching on yourself, I don't know what does. Because that's what it sounded like. Dry snitching on yourself. But I digress. We don't know. It's just speculation. It is what it is. Now, let's talk about the fight. When I was watching this fight, I saw Canelo had overwhelming power compared to Jermell Charlo. Canelo threw thudding shots. They landed with a thud. Broke his guard down, punched through his guard. There was nothing that Jermell could do power-wise against Canelo Alvarez. And whenever Jermell Charlo did throw punches, they weren't really with bad intent. And when he did land, it kind of looked like he didn't mean to, like he was sorry for it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Like it was weird. So here's a little side note for fighters. If you're throwing fights, do a better job. Don't make it so obvious, because to me and a lot of fans across, the boxing world, that looked like a dive. But we could be wrong. We can only speculate. We don't know. And that's a fact. That's the truth. But I know what I saw. I really can't speak to Jermell's performance besides he was surviving. That's the only thing I can speak to about the performance from Jermell Charlo. He survived. You guys tell me what you think. Do you think Jermell took a dive? Or was he just overwhelmed by Canelo and there was nothing he could do but take the punishment for 12 rounds and survive? Because he didn't look like he trained to fight. He looked like he came to survive and get the bag. But hey, get your money, man. Get your money, homie, because like I said, fans are not taking care of fighters when fighters are done fighting. If a fighter sustains an injury like a broken hand or a career-ending injury, fans are not coming to the rescue. You're on to the next. That brings me to the point I was making earlier. What can we do to help these fighters get something put in place to help them in the long run when fighting is over for them? But congratulations to Canelo on a great performance. He did his thing. Maybe if he performed like this against Bivol, we might have got a different result. We'll never know until he fights Bivol again and brings this same energy. You guys tell me what you thought about the fight. Who do you want to see Canelo fight next? And who do you want to see Jermell Charlo fight next? Do you want to see him in the ring with Crawford still? Or has that fight sort of diminished since his loss to Canelo? That's going to be very interesting. From the sounds of it, it does not look like Terrence Crawford is interested in Jermell Charlo anymore. It looks like he is upset at Jermell Charlo for taking a dive, if you read between the lines. I don't think you can pay Crawford to take a dive. That man is really coming to win. Like Jermell Charlo said, I'm coming to win. I'm coming to win. I knew when he said that, the way he said it, it didn't have that meaning. It didn't have that real, I'm coming to win on it. It just was, I'm coming to win. It was acting. That's what it looked like to me. That's what it looked like. I think we're going to see something totally different if Crawford does get the opportunity to fight Canelo Alvarez. But you guys tell me, who do you want to see Canelo fight next, and who do you want to see Jermell Charlo fight next? I think Jermell Charlo should stop looking at Terrence Crawford and fight Tim Tszyu, because that's what you need to do. You need to go ahead and fight Tim Tszyu. Y'all tell me what you think. That's all I got for right now. I will be back with some more content. In the meantime, between time, y'all know what time it is. Stay smooth.